Hi, thank you for joining me. This is Interviews episode 107, and I have a special program for you today. We are going to dig deep inside Cocoon, which is an organization that helps grow businesses by growing the business founders. So Cocoon was established in 2014 in Estonia. It offers a one-year self-discovery and company growth program through personal mentoring. It's based on the principle that founders' personal growth is an unfair advantage that can boost the organization's growth as well. And in order to get a 360-degree view on Cocoon and its program and results, I have invited three Cocoon guests. First, Hristo Neiland is Cocoon co-founder, CEO, and also a mentor. Hristo dreamed of becoming a professional basketball player, but ankle surgery made him give up. The same happened in his disc golf career. So it became obvious that it was never an injury that really stopped him. Now he is an entrepreneur supporting leaders and top athletes in tackling their real challenges. Next with me is Marcel Gasser, one of the top Cocoon mentors. Marcel successfully founded 10 plus companies, but his life changed after a brain tumor. His healing journey brought him to 100 plus countries. He met crazy entrepreneurs, healers, and shamans. Today, he's a retired nomad, helping entrepreneurs and investors as a mentor to become aligned with their purpose, clarity, and joy. And last but not least is Mariana Hagström, one of the top Cocoon alumni. Mariana is an attorney at law and legal tech startup. She's also avocado founder and CEO. She has been practicing corporate and information technology law for more than 10 years before the transition from the legal practice to legal tech in 2016. Hello, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. So, three guests with three different perspectives, but one thing in common, Cocoon. Let's dig into it. I'm going to start with Hristo. Can you tell us a little bit about Cocoon? You know, how did it start? What service do you offer, etc.?
So as usually, companies start from some kind of pain or problem. Yes. So it was not different with Cocoon, and the problem that we found out, the initial founder of the Cocoon is Rein Lemberg, and I joined it later as like co-founder. But the problem was a rather simple one, meaning the realization that all the founders have necessary information and good advice in order to make good business. So there is no lack of advice, no lack of information. But what is missing is the know-how about oneself, about how to make this advice like really practical, how to put this into execution. And this understanding came from actually Rein's own investment portfolio, that the first worked together, gave a lot of good advice, only to find out after 2 years that, okay, but actually that's not used. And that got the interest of, okay, what is actually holding the founders back? And this was the beginning of figuring out that, okay, but maybe there is some other kind of support that can be offered. And now the support is understanding about oneself, is like, why I cannot put perfectly good advice into execution, even if I want. And basically, this is the area where we are working with Cocoon.
Right. On the homepage of your website, the headline is "Change Your Reality." What does it mean?
This is my favorite one. First, how the reality is created. It's created by the thoughts. Yes. If I think about something one way, then this is my reality. And now what what's evident is that humans tend to think about same things the same way, and sometimes even their lifetime, which then creates that they will react the same way to similar situations. They will take the same actions. So it is pretty much a loop. Just the face value changes, but the actions and thoughts and everything are the same. So how to change the reality is changing the thinking. And how to change the thinking is sometimes even forcefully to act differently. For example, if every time somebody starts to yell on a meeting, I'm going into corner and just waiting them to calm down, then maybe just one time I will try to stand up and go and give them a hug. Super random thing. But this is already an actual change, because now you did something differently and the ripple effect can be whatever. So this is what we mean with that. Change your reality means change your thinking through what you're changing your reactions and actions.
Nice. Let me turn to Mariana now. Why did you join the program? What was your reality, by the way, before you joined Cocoon? You're muted, Mariana.
Sorry, I'm jumping back to my introduction as well. I mean, for me and my background, where I was coming, and I was I like to say I was trained to be a good lawyer, to be a partner, to managing the other really like a highly intelligent bunch of lawyers who are like hunters. And this was a totally different mindset for me to being in the law business and then coming to the startup. And I like to think about life like, I mean, it's like a metro station or journey, and there are some kind of station when you jump off. And I was along in this law firm station. And when I jumped off the startup and I founded the startup, I found like I'm missing something. I mean, the thing I was trained for is not good enough for the startup. And I need, like Hristo said, you need different kind of thinking. I felt like I need a different mindset. I mean, looking at the failures, looking at the like experiments, looking at the perfectionism. I mean, all different things what we were used to in the law firm and we were really tough at. Then suddenly I needed a different mindset actually to succeed in a startup and in the leadership, and work with my empathy and the methods we are working, supporting our team members to actually, because we went to the totally undiscovered area. There was no models. I mean, how we are going there, how we can be certain that what we are doing actually will create a good result and actually will help my company. And then the failing, the fear of failing and all these kind of things you wanted to be sure. And actually then I got a call from Hristo, and actually I remember that call that I again was really in like a speed of doing things and hurry, and even was like upset, like I mean that I was disturbed in my flow. I really like to be in like a deep flow working mode, and then like what basically saying like what do you want? I mean in a not very nice way, but he was so calm and taking me like to that journey. And then I got curious, because being like, I mean, self-development, curiosity, that's something really drives me. And I got like curious, and that's actually was really the trigger for me why I wanted to learn more. And then I joined by invitation one training day, and it was virtual because it was COVID and it was not possible to go on site actually nowadays. And before that it was, I understand it was all like on site and meeting people, but then it was virtual. But it was already such a good experience for me, and I really like the people, and I mean, you really have to think, I mean, what kind of people with what kind of thinking you, what are the people around you? And that was something I wanted to be around these people. I wanted to learn more, I discover more. If it's going to give me something and will unlock me some kind of understanding myself, what I'm missing, I feel like I'm stuck. That a long explanation, but in general, yeah, that's like a backstory and how I landed to a Cocoon program.
Mm. No, it makes perfect sense, and well, we'll go back later on about this what you talk about. I'm stuck, the mindset. But first I want to hear a little bit about from Marcel. Marcel, you have a lot of experience as a mentor, as a coach. What makes Cocoon different?
Yeah, that's always a good question. I would say first and far most important is the people, because as you could expect, mentoring can be done in various ways. So it depends highly on the people. I'm humble enough to say also that, of course, it's the people, also the company who join Cocoon. So the magic is a kind of collective. It's the collective of mentees and mentors, but I would say, of course, it's the people.
Right, Hristo, how are you feeling hearing that?
Right now, I'm just so uplifted because one can imagine that in this kind of field, it's not maybe usual way to do business. Like business is about numbers, yes, and we are talking about people, which also will lead to numbers, but this is not the focus. The focus is on the quality of life. So to be here and hear all the good stuff is very uplifting because, of course, I'm also doing sales. I get a lot of rejections that, man, like I don't have time for that. I'm very busy at building my company. But fortunately, more and more now, the same people are coming back after a year or 2 years that, okay, I'm still running around and the numbers are better, but I actually like my quality of life has not changed. So let's talk again. So the main difference is that the focus is on the people and how they perceive their own life.
Right.
How good of a life I am living.
So can you tell us a little bit about what that 1 year program, what the 1 year self-discovery and company growth program?
So it has different components, yes, and it mainly entails personal mentoring, like one-on-one, which we have been talking a lot about today. Then there is also part of business consulting because we are working with entrepreneurs, yes, like how to change your structure, how to negotiate something. So these are also part of it. Then there are now again, fortunately, live trainings, which gives the element of actually seeing other founders in the open environment. Because in conferences, you will see how good everything is. On our trainings, you see what's the actual struggle. And this sense of being in the same place, like unity, that I'm not the only one who's struggling with finding the right market fit or solving some team issues, like everybody has those. So just this realization already is a big value. And then I would say like the last main element is therapeutical work, which means actually giving support of overstressed, feeling depression, running out of energy. All those kind of things are supported to find the source again.
Mariana, what was the best part for you about this program?
That's a good question. So actually, yeah, like Hristo said, it's like different components inside the program, and I had at later stage a very good training day. Marcel actually was one of the mentor in the training day, okay. And the discussion actually, provoked discussion about, what Hristo said as well, that joy and fulfillment of the life. Not just running around the startup. You could, there's so many things needs to be done, and actually I think you have skills as well, but you're missing the joy. And actually how to bring that joy and fulfillment back to your life, and you actually enjoy what you're doing. And you don't feel I'm stuck in my startup because I'm founder and the startup basically is me. I mean, how I can be, I actually learned a very good concept from Cocoon, which is impeccability, and I'm practicing it basically all the time when I'm thinking, I mean, what I'm doing, and as I
What is that? What is that concept?
I mean, Hristo can speak about it more because that's, I mean, basically it's opposite. It's not really opposite, but something which is work better for human being, and like opposite to perfectionism. Like, I mean, you want to achieve something which is perfect, but you, as a founder or as a human being, you're giving your best at that certain time period with your skill set and knowledge. You give your best. And then actually when we had that discussion with Marcel, I don't know if you remember, but I'm actually using it still sometimes, and when I'm talking to other people as well, and we came to the concept of zero gravity. So when you're doing your best and giving your best with your knowledge and then basically you have zero gravity because there's no regrets. I mean, I gave my best outcome. I mean, it's not related to outcome, but what you actually do. And you're not into something which is coming in the future and you cannot control, but something you can control right now. I mean, my action, my thoughts, what I do, how I think about, or how I feel about, and these kind of things. And I really, I mean, these are the gifts. I mean, there's so many gifts. I mean, I could tell them a lot, but there's many gifts actually. I mean, for me, but especially because of this perfection in this thing. And I mean, tailoring things to the perfection and then not letting go and really being like, I'm feeling like my face is in every detail. I mean, my face, my reputation, everything what I have built. And then if I'm actually putting something out which is not perfect, which is, I mean, it's, I'm shamed. Maybe and there's so many things like, I mean, around that and yeah, this training days, and I got my own mentor. I was able to discuss like my operational problems. We built the hiring process together. I mean, also, I mean, for some founders in Cocoon, there's a lot of like only self-development issues. I mean, how I can control my anger, perfectionism, how I can like practice impeccability. There's so many different angles. I mean, how I can be more content or on in connection with myself and then my life journey, and enjoy that. And the other thing, I mean, I had a lot of feedback. The mentor I chose also like operational discussion, because then I was a solo founder, and now I got my co-founder, late co-founder, and that's actually, I think, as a result of the program as well, and as a gift. So basically, I've got a lot from Cocoon. Of course, you have to, I mean, put yourself out and vulnerable, and really ready to actually break or crack that person you were before you joined. You be ready to let go. I mean, it is tough, and I mean. Once I went to the training day, actually, someone said to me, okay, the Cocoon is a program. When you actually leave the program, you leave the startup, because, I mean, you learn that, I mean, you have to take care of yourself, and startup is not the place. But then I was laughing. It's not really the truth that you really have to leave the startup, because startup is tough, sure. But you maybe discover something yourself. I mean, what you really want to do. And then later you can come back. It's a journey, like I said. So
We've been talking like for what, 20 minutes now, and usually, you know, when I talk to organizations similar like you, or I talk to business owners or startups owners, either on the podcast or you know, as a mentor myself, we talk a lot about business issues. But it's been for 20 minutes, we haven't talked at all about business issue. We've talked about like people, like the mindset. And I've been interviewing more than 100 entrepreneurs on this show. I've talked to, you know, I've been working with entrepreneurs for more than 20 years now. And I agree with you, entrepreneurship is first and foremost a mindset, but we never talk about it. Why do you think is that? Let me turn to Marcel.
Very easy thing, because thoughts is the language of the mind,
Mm.
and we are too much focusing on thoughts to analyze our surroundings. Thoughts are sensation like other sensation. We have to digest our surroundings, to process our environment, our experience. And now it's the time, latest since COVID, I started earlier to focus on feelings, because feelings is the language of the heart. And that's definitely the way where we go collectively as a species through the ever-changing environment, and it will be really messy. And what can I change? I can only change how I see the world changing around me.
Mm.
So I feel time is ready now that we can finally, also among investors, I deal a lot with investors, speak about let's talk about the feelings, why I'm sad, why I'm depressed, why I'm happy, why I'm not happy, and why I'm doing what I'm doing, because this is essential. And many founders I have had the pleasure to work with, they don't know. And it's quite fascinating. You walk somewhere, but you don't even know why you walk this path. And it's no wrong in just walking. Maybe it could be more fulfilling, more excitement, more joy. Let's assume if life is a journey, why not making the most out of it and not outsourcing life as many do?
Mm.
They get all the money, all the recognition, the security and the control, but the life they kind of outsource. And then they suddenly realize, like I had the health crisis in my head, at the end, it doesn't really matter what is the trigger moment in your life. And then suddenly you realize, oh, wait a moment, there is something else. So I feel tremendously, it's so, I'm blown away all the time when I see how incremental the change is now, and what the blessing is Corona and all the things we have as a society. It's a pure blessing if you want to see it. But you can also choose the other way around. You can also see it as obstacles, as ever, whatever, as the things you don't want to see.
Mm. Do you remember the conversations you had with Mariana?
Back then about her issue, or what you mean?
Oh, she mentioned that she remembered the conversations with you. So do you remember?
I remember Mariana, but I don't remember precisely the conversation we had.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you were making notes, Marcel, and I said you had discovered a new concept, is zero gravity. That when I don't know, maybe that you're discovering the new concepts every day, but for me, it was interesting, like realization. Yeah.
The zero gravity is important. I always say it's the staying sane in an insane world, because you want to sit in this, you know, the grandmother used to swing in those chairs back and forth, and around the grandmother is the hurricane spinning around, or if it's your business or the drama in the world, and you just observe, and that's where you want to go. That's also the flow and the non-achieving, because the mind wants to achieve, but the heart doesn't want to achieve. Also quite nice.
Yeah. Hristo, do you want to add anything?
I'm actually interested how you feel right now, because now we have took you into our kind of field, and I'm pretty sure you can already feel it, but I don't know how.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Hristo actually was asking, are you joining Cocoon now? Like 30 minutes.
Well, I would love to join. I would love to join as a mentor. Yes, I've already told you that. I'm really impressed by the fact that, you know, the focus is really on the personal growth, and not on the business. Because again, as I mentioned, this is something that is so important and so underrated. And so, hence my question again to back to you, Hristo, is how did you come to that realization? You know, when did you realize that, or the founder of Cocoon, when did they realize that, you know, they had to have that focus?
This I cannot answer you because I did not realize that. What I can answer is why I joined it as a co-founder. What was the realization for me?
Yes.
Because before that, I did all kinds of different stuff. I was coach and I was teacher, and then I did some smaller businesses, and then I started my startup and led that one. But for me, the realization was that it did not matter what I do, I still feel bad. Meaning, like, objectively, everything is good. I have like decent amount of money. I have a lot of people around who like me, who I like, and like everything is moving. Like with my previous startup, we started to earn money from the 5th minute we launched the product. Like, you get first paying customer, all good. But still, for example, my blood pressure was up. Like doctor said, like, okay, you are 27, but you are going to take pills. So I was like, no way I will. Like, it's not going to happen. So my realization was that the heart can only sing when the person is doing things from the heart. And then things start to go well because the person feels good. And everyone around him or her starts to feel good. And then they want to do things together. Yes, share what they have. And this is also how the companies grow, that we are together and we share what we have together.
Yeah.
As long as we are keeping in our own like silos or thoughts or feelings, like there are like a lot of silos together in close area doing something together, then actually there is no exchange. Yes, so nothing changes. But from Rain's word, how we found it out or kind of realized it was it's from his own investment portfolio that just everything he tried to give, it went wasted, meaning somehow it was not used. And then they started to make like really heart-to-heart conversations with founders, like what is actually going on in your life. And from that, the picture started to get clearer, that the real obstacles or like the challenges are somewhere else. And from that, it unfolded like that.
Is it how you sell the concept? Because you mentioned earlier on in our conversation that you had difficulty, you faced a lot of rejections. And I'm thinking, startup funders, a lot of ego, maybe a lot of money involved. I mean, how do you get startup funders on board?
How do I sell? This is a very good question because we have also hired some salespeople and they also ask the same. Yes, I need to train them.
Yeah.
And I must admit I'm not very good at putting it into words. How do I sell it? I will have a meeting. I will be absolutely open about my own vulnerability. And then sometimes magic happens, meaning the other side founder will also be open and share what are the actual things that are on her or his mind. And then we will share and have some experience together. For example, as Mariana told, she joined the training days, which are like 2 days